and you know, being a Christian, that what better way can I try to reach people and spread the good news by media. And definitely movies and music and everything is definitely a strong influence in today's culture. So things just kind of seemed to line up and seemed to be the direction that God was pointing me to, because I tried a couple of different other types of genres of film, but this one, with a couple of different other faith-based films, it just seemed to resonate. So a little bit of backstory of Song of the Tree Frogs. The author is actually on here. He's showing as John, but his the author name is J.W. Kitson. So he is actually the author of the book, which we took and transformed into a screenplay, then filmed it last year in 2019. Um, but yeah, so I don't know how much you want
No,
me to keep
that's
going,
good.
but
No, that's good. So I looked on you guys' IMDb. I did see, were you guys planning on releasing it in 2019 or 2020 was the set date?
well, yeah, I mean, obviously this year just threw everything off balance. There was a couple of film festivals that we were planning on attending. Um, so we were trying to have that generate a little bit of traction. But again, as everything started to close down and everything shifted to a virtual premiere, um, and looking at the theatrical, and this was a low budget film, so there could have been an opportunity. There still is an opportunity to play in some local theaters. Um, so originally we did want to release it here in 2020, but everything just continued to push back, and then trying to figure out doing a premiere, because all the films that I've done in the past, we've all had a local showing at a theater, but obviously we couldn't do that as well. So yeah, so we wanted to release it sometime middle of this year and make it available before the fall, but so it's pushed back into January. It'll be released on a couple of different platforms and then streaming in March on PureFlix.
Nice, nice. So then we know, as you mentioned, and we've been saying, COVID kind of shifted the whole film distribution model, and you were accustomed to premiering in small theaters before. How would you, I wouldn't want to say rate, but how would you explain your overall feeling with that process versus looking for more virtual options in terms of screening your film?
Sure. And yeah, there's definitely nothing like an in-person premiere where you get to see a lot of the cast and the crew. You have the red carpet, you have the backdrop, you get to take pictures. So it's definitely a special night to celebrate the film, and then also be there in the theater and watch your film on the big screen with everybody else that's there. And the theater that we would have our premieres sits about 420 people, and basically every premiere that we had, we would sell out the theater.
Mhm.
So again, that in-person premiere is a great experience. Also does generate quite a bit of revenue. However, again, everything changing this year with the virus thing. Most of production, most of the other projects that I've been doing, everything has been kind of making this change, making this pivot to where we were actually scheduled to have an in-person premiere um, weeks leading up to when we decided to go virtual. So the week prior to the virtual premiere is whenever we actually ended up canceling it. So we had all plans on having it. It just whenever we originally planned for it, things got continued to get worse. So we decided, after talking with some of the organizers of the event where we're going to have it, and the health department and all this stuff, it just we just wanted to keep everybody safe. And then so instead of just saying, we're not having a premiere,
Mhm.
that what better way can we do it to make sure we still get this film out there for a premiere. um, so one of the film festivals that Song of the Tree Frogs was in was Kingdomwood International Film Festival, and I remember this platform being the platform that they use for their showings. So as I was looking into a couple of different um, premiere on virtual premiere programs, this kind of resonated with me. I looked through the website. Everything is very straightforward and the way that it's set up. So yeah, it was definitely a great alternative, and it kind of has me thinking, even beyond this whole virus thing, that now that we have technology like this and a company like this is, what's to say that you can have an in-person premiere at the same time, have the virtual premiere as well. So have them both connected at once, which
Exactly.
could definitely create a lot of interest, I think. So you can connect more on a national, international base, other than just having an in-person premiere.
Definitely. Perfect. Well, yeah. So then my next question to you would be, well, you kind of explained how you stumbled upon Binge Wave. What was the final decision process for you guys? Was it kind of everyone was a little uneasy about it? It's a new type of platform. We haven't been around that long. Or were you wanting to try different methods? What was the overall feeling regarding virtual in general?
Yeah, so I mean, definitely being the first time that I've ever done anything like this, there's a lot of uncertainty. Um, and then also, convincing the author and producer that, that he could let go of having an in-person premiere, which is definitely was tough, a tough decision. Um, but again, as I was going through the website, looking into all the other different places where I could have a virtual premiere. This seemed, like I said, the most straightforward, the easiest to set up, and the most information that was available.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, but there was also being anxious because I've never, had a virtual premiere, and just again, I always look at the technical things and seeing if everything's going to work out all right, and if it doesn't, then how do I fix it?
Great, great. So you are a success story. So we're going to jump into it because we know what probably attracted most people to this event was to see the numbers. The fact that you were able to gross over 1.2K for your screening, that's remarkable, especially for a virtual platform. And I did hear you kind of, twinkle a little bit about how you were able to make a lot of money doing actually in person premieres. So then tell us about that. What was your process in terms of getting people to buy tickets? Was it a hard sell, or do you just have that much of a fandom that it was an easy sell for you?
Well, it's kind of an interesting question to kind of dissect, but so again, we had a in-person premiere scheduled, and we were basically sold out as far as the reservations goes for the tickets. So upon canceling that, we were able to um, send an email out to the people that were going to come to the in-person event, and let them know about the new platform and that we were going virtual. So there was 325 tickets that were reserved for that. I also have an email subscriber list, which is about 1,300 people. So that has also helped, on marketing and getting things out there as far as casting calls, different releases. So using the email on the platform that I had for the in-person premiere, just alerting them that it wasn't going to be an in-person, sending out an email to my subscriber list, and also posting it on Facebook and having a bunch of the people that were involved in the production share it. That in turn, I think, generated a lot of interest. There was also a lot of people that were really bummed that they couldn't make the in-person
Mhm.
premiere because, obviously of everything. But now this gave them an opportunity that they could log on and see it. And I think out of everybody that had tickets, there was at least two people who were watching it with that ticket, if not more. So I would think that there was probably close to 250 to 300 people that were actually viewing the film at the time.
Wow, that's awesome. And then how did you decide on your ticket price? Because we do at Binge Wave allow you to set your own price. What got you through that process? What did you think was fair, and was it worth it to you?
Sure. Yeah, and I think it definitely was totally worth it. So normally in an in-person premiere, our tickets are sales are about $15. And that ranges depending on the film, but for the most part, they're about $15. So knowing that this is a different type of experience, setting it a little bit lower to, again, there's always excitement whenever there's a premiere, there's something new coming out, and knowing that the people won't be able to see it for another month or 2 months or 3 months. So again, generating a lot of excitement helped for the ticket sales. So kind of landing around, I wanted to make about $12 per ticket. Just looking, factoring, it's not in-person experience. However, there's a lot of excitement, and there's a lot of people that want to see this film. So yeah, that's kind of how I landed on that ticket price. And I knew that if I would charge more, if I would charge 15 people, I don't know how many would want to actually purchase a ticket for $15, even though it's not an in-person premiere. Again, this being my first virtual premiere, the uncertainty there that hopefully everything works out correctly, but I also did want to try to recoup some of the budget, and I didn't want to put it too low, like $5, where it would kind of devalue the film.
Definitely. That was smart. Good job. And then, what would you say were the responses after you had your premiere, when people spoke to you about it? Did they think highly of the platform and being able to watch your film?
Yeah, a lot of people love the film, and the process of actually sitting there and watching it all together. There were a couple of technical things that people were having some issues with. So originally, I was just going to have the showing that night, and then after the showing, it would be off. But a lot of people were having some technical things. Not everybody, but some people. But I wanted to be able to offer them to watch it whenever they had the chance, just in case they missed it, or they were having some issues with their internet, or whatever the case was. Um, but we had a lot of people, a lot of positive comments about being able to view it on the platform, and again, just loving the movie and the opportunity that they got to see it
Mhm.
for the first time before anybody else could.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, I do want to go ahead and see if we had any questions. If anybody wanted to ask questions to either myself or Josh, I can go ahead and unmute everybody. Everyone there? Did anyone have any questions? I'll go ahead and look at the chat. I do want to say hello to John again. Hi, John, since you're in the
Hi,
How did you
thank
feel
you
about
guys.
the premiere and seeing it on the BingeWave platform?
It was great. It was a great opportunity. And as I said, a lot of people, sent out some very positive comments and everything. And it was very nice that they were able to watch it again. One lady I just ran into her the other day. She told me, she said, I watched it like 3 or 4 times. So we were very thankful that the opportunity was there. So thank you very much.
Oh, awesome. And then Josh, too, from my understanding, you all had a live Q&A after your premiere. Can you talk to us a bit about that and how that went for you guys, and what were the responses?
Sure, yeah, and that's again going back to the in-person premiere. We always would have a Q&A comment section after the showing, so we wanted to be able to have that opportunity as well. Um, so yeah, we had some great questions, and the people would use the chat platform to ask their questions, and also with the live Q&A, we had some panelists, some of the cast and crew that were involved in the film, which was great, that they can chime in and answer some questions and talk about the film. So yeah, that's a great time to really dissect the film and kind of get in there, ask questions, and even more so, kind of generate more interest going forward. Than people are asking about release dates and other projects that are coming up. So it was a great opportunity to connect directly with the audience members, and again, have the cast and crew chime in as well.
Definitely. And that was an added thing that we have. Someone's chatting inside the room. Okay. Thank you, Mina. Um, Definitely. Was there anyone that had any questions before I keep going? Anyone have questions for either myself or for Josh regarding his process doing virtual? No questions. I guess we're giving you guys all the information then. And then another thing I do want to talk about as well is the fact that everything was pretty much self-serve
Mhm.
with BingeWave. So you were able to go in. I don't know if it was yourself. I would assume it was you. You were able to go in, upload your own film, set everything up yourself. How was that process? Because I think a lot of people may be a little bit overwhelmed thinking of the process of setting up their own screening on a platform.
hmm Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of information on the site. However, the way that it's organized is very helpful. And the video content is very concise. So if you're looking on how to do something, or just the basic steps to set up your screening, it's like I said, it's very straightforward. And basically, the plan that they have, or that you guys have from beginning all the way to the end, was very easy for me. I am kind of a technical guy, but I definitely think anybody that wants to set up a showing, that's used to doing an in-person premiere, as far as the technical things go, they would definitely be very capable of doing this whole process. And or if you're used to submitting films on Film Freeway or film festivals, it's technically the same process. All you have to do is select your screening date and time, set the ticket price, and that's basically it. So yeah, it was very user friendly.
Got
And
it.
yeah.
Got it. So we have a question from John. Sorry, John, is saying that you weren't able to unmute yourself. John asks, what were the technical issues and how were they resolved? To my knowledge, I don't want to say there were some user error things, but there's definitely some things that people have to pay attention to when they're going in to view the film, albeit if someone entered their email address incorrectly or they just didn't get the proper link. And we are standing by full time, so we're able to go in and resolve it quickly as soon as we can. But I didn't know if you wanted to speak to that yourself, Josh, if you remember anything specific.
Yeah, so there were people in the chat, and even beforehand, that were having some issues as far as the streaming. They would either not hear audio and see the video, or sometimes the video was skipping, would play a little bit, then stop. Um, but again, I think a lot of that had to do with user error. I mean, there's definitely instructions on the site about um, the different uh, browsers to use, and also the internet connection. So I do think most of it was the user difficulty. But however, Devin was on the ball whenever he he saw I was starting and stopping just to try to see if people could see it. But he emailed me. I asked him if he can give me a call, and then right away he gave me a call. So it was great customer service to respond back and to try to help in the situation. But yeah, I relayed that information to the people that were watching, gave them time to make sure they had the right internet browsers, and that they were on the fastest internet that they could. But other than that, again, having that option to have the movie available for the next couple of days kind of helped some of that technical issues, even though they're not some of the people that were having really bad issues that couldn't view the film. They had the opportunity to watch the film afterwards for the next couple of days until the video on demand ended. So that was a great way to kind of, I guess, make up for some of the technical errors that they might have had on their end.
Yeah, definitely.
And just real quick, it sounded like then you were handling the playback when the film was showing. Is that correct?
That's correct. And Sharíck, you guys can probably touch on that a little bit, but I love that feature that you can either have the screening start at the certain time automatically, or you being the
The filmmaker.
running the
Yeah.
event, that you have the opportunity to start and stop the film. So if something was happening, you can stop it, go back, or kind of pick up whatever. But again, you have the control to do that in case there was any issue going on.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, this is definitely a user-friendly platform, and it's all self-serve. So you, as the filmmaker, as the account manager, you're able to go in, designate when you want it to start. You can either click the option to start it manually or start it automatically. And then, as Josh mentioned, he was able to go in and restart it if there was some sort of issue, or maybe you don't have as many people on at the time that you wanted it to begin. So you have a lot of different options. So yeah, that was a good question. Thank you for asking that. As well as
Hey,
starting your chat when you're ready to start the live chat. You can go ahead and get everybody in on the video chat for that as well.
hey, quick question, John. We met at the International Christian Film Festival,
I was
didn't
gonna
we?
say we did. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. Good seeing you again.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Awesome. We have another question from Blaze, who asks, what percentage of the ticket sales does the distributor retain? And the answer to that question is we don't take a percentage of the ticket sales. So 100% of the ticket sales does go to the filmmaker, right, Josh?
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah.
So you set your price and you were able to retain all of that. We make our funds on the back end, but as far as whatever you sell your ticket at, you retain all of that, and you only pay us a small fee to begin the process of screening your film. Another thing I wanted to mention, since you mentioned Josh being able to have the VOD option, we've had a couple of filmmakers that decided, I want to turn this into my movie theater. I want to have a movie theater run just as I would in normal theater. So I want my movie to come on at 5 o'clock every single day for the next 2 weeks. That's definitely an option for you. And people can kind of come in as they would as on a movie theater basis and pick which day and which time and watch the film just as they would at a theater. So thank you for that question. I do want to ask, Josh, what's next for you? What do you have coming up? Or are you looking to screen another film with BingeWave pretty soon?
Well, yeah, there's depending on what's all going on with this virus as far as
Yeah.
production goes, there were a couple of things that kind of got pushed to the side or got filmed elsewhere. Supposed to work on a television pilot, and back in April, that didn't happen. They filmed down in North Carolina. We were going to do a short film the same weekend that we had the showing of Song of the Tree Frogs. However, that got canceled. However, we were going to film a short. However, and now we're going to make it into a full feature, which John is currently expanding upon that. So that's kind of in the works. And then also a project that we've been working with a international best-selling author in Canada. His name is Tom Dutta. He has a best-selling book called The Way of the Quiet Warrior, and we're in the process of finalizing the script. And as far as if everything goes correctly with this whole virus thing and quarantine and all that, if things kind of get pushed aside, we're looking here in June 2021 of filming up in Canada. So that's going to be a pretty impactful story and movie, which will it touches on mental health, which will be a great, like I said, a great story. Then a couple of other things here and there, not all the way finalized. We were also looking at doing a Christmas movie this February with she was in Song of the Tree Frogs, Karen Abercrombie, and she wanted to do a Christmas movie. And shoot it here locally. However, again, with the virus thing, we're probably going to push that to next year. Then back to the short, it's called Love One Another, and that will also feature Karen Abercrombie, Cameron Arnett, Candace Kirkpatrick, and a couple of other people that make it a really impactful film as well. And those are all faith-based films. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of in the works. It's just a matter of, when is this whole virus thing gonna let go and allow us to really film and not be distracted and tied down with all the mandates and the regulations. As we were looking at the short film and going SAG, I mean, the regulations and the safety plan that you have to have with SAG, it's crazy. So if once we can put away all those distractions with that and really dive into the story, then we can really hit into production with some of these films. Then looking in the future, like I was saying before, I think this is a great opportunity to with the in-person premiere and the virtual premiere to kind of have like a hybrid thing that I think would be really cool to look at. And then even after the in-person premiere, then have some other virtual premieres or virtual showings that, or in person obviously is local to a lot of the people unless they're flying in, but then have an opportunity maybe the next weekend to have a virtual premiere, or just have a virtual premiere if it's a short film or a short little thing to share with people. But I definitely think this opportunity has probably blessed a lot of filmmakers that haven't been able to reach as many people with in-person showing, especially this year. So yeah, it's been great.
Definitely. I think we have a question from Sylvia. Sylvia, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Yes.
Okay, yes, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, I was wondering, Josh, how did you and John meet to collaborate on this project?
Oh, good
Okay,
question.
very good question. So this dates back to 2015 with the very first film that I did. Like I said before, my wife and I have been wedding photographers now just about 10 years. So I started getting into video. Then in 2015, I decided to write a short film about some local legends at a state park. And I posted something online for a cast and crew call. And I'm like looking at my wife and thinking, who can we beg to get into this film? Whenever I posted it, I also posted my phone number on the poster, and it ended up reaching over 67,000 people. So that was kind of crazy. But John sent me an email and said, "Hey, I'm an author and teacher here, local to the area. He's done a lot of theater directing. So reached out to me. We kind of went back and forth through email, and then we had in-person auditions. So that was the first time I met him. He came to set in with the auditions. So since then, the very first film, he's been right there with me producing the films that I've done, and just basically my right hand man sitting there making sure everything is going well and that everything makes sense with the story. So fast forward a couple years, and it was 2017 when the Song of the Tree Frogs was published. Yeah, yeah. So that 18. Okay. So we did a little trailer to promote the book. Just a little book trailer. We had some local actors that we worked with in the past, and just to kind of gain some interest on his book to promote book sales. Well, after we did that, everybody's like, are you going to make this into a movie?" So we kicked around the idea for a little while. And then, as things were kind of progressing with some other projects. We also did a documentary together called Gateway to Hope Overcoming Heroin, which was about individuals overcoming heroin addiction.
Mm.
And that had a lot of impact. It still has a lot of impact. Just kind of a side note on that, the one guy that has a rehabilitation center, um, he's located down in East Liverpool, Ohio, is kind of what we based it upon. Well, there was somebody in the UK that saw the documentary on Amazon Prime and actually flew their daughter here to East Liverpool to go to a freedom home, which kind of separates them from, their where they are. But the whole rehabilitation is biblically based. So to really get them clean and geared into the right direction to fully overcome the addiction. So a lot of success. And again, being right there with John to whenever we would have a rough cut, we'd have a fine cut, we would sit down and watch the films together to see what we can cut, what we can add. So whenever it came to Song of the Tree Frogs, knowing the message that was in there, if for those of you who don't really know the message of Song of the Tree Frogs, it deals with domestic violence and domestic abuse, and about two brothers that are given not the best situation with their parents, but and the one main character is struggling with what forgiveness looks like. That's kind of, John can go into a lot better of a synopsis than that, but knowing that it could have a lot of impact being a movie because his book has tons of sales on Amazon, uh, over 50 five-star reviews. He also has other awards that he's won for his book. So again, the story was there. And after going to the International Christian Film Festival in May 2018, started meeting some really awesome people. I met Shannon Fields, who was in Facing the Giants, and a couple of other people. I ran across Karen Abercrombie. So as we started gearing everything up for looking at the cast, I reached out to Shannon, and she was definitely interested in one of the roles, and we just started getting connected with these phenomenal actors and actresses. And then from there, it just, as we got into production almost didn't happen because of our raising the budget, but we were able to do it. And then as soon as we got into production, just the cast just really took this story to a whole nother level.
Awesome. Awesome.
Sorry, that was a really long response back to that.
Good. Mr. John Proctor asked another question. Can we still see Song of the Tree Frogs on the BingeWave platform? And I think this is a really interesting question because, as I mentioned a few times, this is completely self-serve. BingeWave does have tons and tons and tons of screenings, many per day. So sometimes we may not even know, because this is so self-serve, whether or not you've booked a screening on our platform. So are you still allowing people to view it on BingeWave, or are you moving on to other things at this time?
Yeah, so we only had it available for video on demand. We were originally just using this for a premiere only, and only to have the showing that night. Again, to have that interest and just have a one time only. However, we also wanted to offer it for the next couple of days. So at this point, I don't know. This could be a different conversation that I have with John, because he's one of the main producers of it. At this time, we don't plan on having any other showings. However, that could change. And after you talking, Sharíck, a little bit, it kind of has me interested in that. But moving forward in January of 2021, it will be available on iTunes, Google Play, Amazon Prime, and also Vudu. And then in March of 2021, it'll be exclusively on PureFlix, streaming on there. So that's the plans as of right now. However, that could change.
Definitely. And how was that process in terms of you getting to Amazon and PureFlix and all of that? How has that process been for you?
So with PureFlix, that relationship happened again at the International Christian Film Festival. I met a wonderful person there who was interested in the documentary. So I talked to her about the film, about some of the other projects that we had, and we were talking about. I actually gave her a book, Song of the Tree Frogs, before we were like full gear into actually shooting it, saying, this is the project that we want to do. It's kind of the next thing up in line. So that relationship kind of started then. And again, it's going to film festivals, building relationships and networking with other individuals. So then, now that PureFlix acquired the documentary, then, having a constant relationship with them, she was interested in seeing Song of the Tree Frogs. So whenever that was ready, we sent a screener over to them to view. We also reached out to a couple of other distribution companies, other people that I've contacted and that I've networked with at some film festivals. But after looking at some of the different options, the best options for Song of the Tree Frogs for us was going the PureFlix route. However, we also had exclusive rights to still have transactional video on demand and also in-person showings. So they're with the deal that we signed with them, it's a subscription-based video on demand through PureFlix. Sorry, I can't talk.
So I brought that up because that's, BingeWave, we kind of fall into somewhat of a gray area when it comes to distribution and licensing. So being that you have this deal set up, or someone may have a deal set up with like an Amazon Prime or a Netflix, the way the licensing is set up, because we are not technically VOD. You can, if you have the option to do so, but everything is live streamed. And I see Devin's back, so he can kind of speak to that a little bit better. You want to jump in real quick?
Yeah, let me jump in on that real quick. So that's one thing I encourage folks to think about is when you are getting your deals done, be wary of what rights you're giving up and for how much. Because typically, when you're showing a plane of, a movie on Amazon Prime versus like a movie on a plane versus a boat, all those technically are different licenses. So if you only sell one license, you can retain the rights to your other licenses. And then when you like screen something somewhere else, that can be your revenue if your current distributor that doesn't have those licenses. So that's the one thing we work really well with filmmakers, is because filmmakers typically don't acquire transactional live streaming rights. When filmmakers screen stuff on our platform, all the revenue is theirs, and the distributor has actually no right to the revenue. They only have right to revenue when it's on video on demand. So that's something to keep in mind as filmmakers, is know what rights you're giving up and what rights you're retaining, because that will determine what kind of revenue you're able to keep up to just to yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and with the, I'll kind of chime in on that just to kind of drive this point home. With the first feature film that I had, I signed a deal with a distribution company, and it was not good. They still have done nothing with the film here 2.5 years later. So that was definitely a learning experience for me, and understanding the rights that you're signing away whenever you are looking at distribution companies. So yeah, the route that Song of the Tree Frogs went, is definitely a very good distribution deal. But again, with the virtual premiere, I guess I didn't really know something like this existed until recently, because of always having the in-person premieres. I guess I never really thought of a virtual premiere and a virtual platform. But obviously, you guys and Sharíck, you could probably touch on this a little bit. So, how much has we're turning the tables as far as the Q&A goes.
Where did Devin go? Devin's hiding again. No, go ahead.
So as far as the screenings and the films that you've had on your platform, how much has that changed this year compared to in the past?
I'll let Devin answer that question because we have a very interesting answer. Go ahead, Devin. I think you're muted. You're still muted. There we go.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so prior to this, we were like the Airbnb to movie theaters, where we turned any kind of venue into a pop theater for a night for filmmakers to screen their stuff. But yeah, since COVID has started, we've been doing only online premieres, and it has like literally like we were having like 200% month-over-month growth with this. So just like remember our high point, and we're still doing today, we get about 25 new films uploaded a day to the website to eventually be screened at some point in time. So it's been dramatically growing.
Yeah, definitely, in a good way. But I do want to go ahead and start closing out. And before I do, I just want to make sure anyone had any other questions to either myself, Devin, Josh, about distribution or anything like that. Feel free to raise your hand. No? Okay. Well, then that's awesome. So yes, thank you all again for tuning in. I did put a link to our distribution page in the chat. Feel free to, message me. I'll also enter my email address as well. Did you have any final thoughts or final words, Josh, regarding whatever pertaining to your film?
Yeah, as far as the virtual premiere, I mean, after looking at all the different options, I mean, this was one of the best decisions I think that we made at this point, and having this opportunity to do that has been great. So I thank you guys for having this platform available for filmmakers. And just as far as Song of the Tree Frogs go, if you guys can follow us on Facebook, also you can, we don't have an official website for it yet, but there's also information at menningfilms.com/Song of the Tree Frogs. But most of the updates and everything you'll find on Facebook there moving forward. And then also if you follow Menning Films on Facebook or Instagram, then, posting of casting calls, crew calls, other projects that we have coming up. If you guys can connect with us there, that would be great. And again, thank you guys for having me here. It's great to talk to you guys about Song of the Tree Frogs and everything else. So hopefully we can do something like this here soon.
I have a feeling we will. And congratulations too. That's a big deal. I did have a question from Bernadine. She asks, how can you become a BingeWave affiliate? So we do have an affiliate program. There's two types of affiliate programs. I'm not sure, Josh, if you utilize this option for your individual screening. There's the affiliate that Josh, as a filmmaker, he can select certain people to join under his sign-in. They're able to then promote the film and figure out a split of the ticket revenue sales. So that's one side of the affiliate program. And then BingeWave has our own affiliate program, whereas if you were to go out and promote our platform and get people to sign up on our platform and actually have a screening, then we do a revenue share with you from our end. So definitely feel free to email me if you have any questions about that. It's just a good way to promote. As filmmakers, it's a good way to get your cast, your crew involved. If you're really looking to get to that big number per screening, such as what Josh did. Sounds like he was already pretty popular, but you can get popular on BingeWave, I think. And definitely utilizing marketing tools. What I'm going to go ahead and do is anyone who's on this call, I am a marketing professional. I know I didn't quite explain my role, but I am the CMO of BingeWave. I'm going to offer a special marketing package for anyone who signs up and decides to distribute a film through our platform. So feel free to email me if you're at all interested. Feel free to go to the distribution.bingewave.com in order to sign up, create your profile. And we have tons of videos, as Josh mentioned, how-tos, pretty much anything that you need to do on our platform is completely self-serve, but you do have our added support as well. So if that answers all of your questions, thank you guys. Really appreciate it. Love seeing your faces, and we look forward to speaking with you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.